3 to 6% inflation target was introduced in the year 2000. Inflation targeting is used as a means to help anchor inflation expectations. High inflation erodes the value of a given currency, and so taming inflation is key for central banks to ensure that their currencies maintain good value and remain stable. Visiting professor at Wits University, Yanni Rousseau, says the current inflation target of 3 to 6% has served the local economy well.
The inflation target announced in 2000 served South Africa well. It has brought down both the inflation rate and inflation expectations to within the target range of 3 to 6%. Around 2001, there was an attempt to introduce a lower target rate of 3 to 5%, but that never materialized as a result of international financial uncertainty. So we've had the target range of 3 to 6% for this whole period.
Having the inflation targeting regime is said to have brought about a level of certainty and has been pivotal for all actors in the economy, especially for business players. Head of SA Macroeconomic Fixed Income and Currency Research at Standard Bank, Dr. Elna Moorman, explains.
So if I'm a business, I know that inflation will be somewhere between 3 and 6%, and I can plan around it, and I don't really have to worry about higher inflation. I know that over the long term, we may have some years that's slightly higher, but then we'll compensate for that and have years that are a little bit lower. And over the last couple of years in particular, the Reserve Bank went further to make it clear it wants 4.5%, the middle of that range. So it makes it even easier. I know that inflation should be 4.5%. I can plan according to that, etc. And so that's the big advantage, and that then makes it easier to invest and run your business, etc.
While the Reserve Bank firmly announced that it's now targeting the bottom end of the 3 to 6% inflation target range in July, technically, the National Treasury is the one that's meant to formulate the inflation rate target with the help of the Reserve Bank's expertise and formally announce the policy target position. Professor Rousseau is advocating for another target range, albeit lower than the current one, and says it's important that there's alignment on the policy between the central bank and Treasury sooner rather than later.
I'm in favour of a 3% inflation target, but with a range of 1 percentage point on either side. So yes, the target is 3%, but 1 percentage point below and 1 percentage point above to give us 2 to 4%. So I support the Reserve Bank targeting 3%. We need the government and the National Treasury to support this target. So my hope is that the Minister will announce the 3% target with a range around it in the upcoming MTBPS on the 12th of November. However, if the Minister does not announce this lower target, we can end up in the dangerous situation where the Reserve Bank targets inflation at 3% and the Treasury uses 4.5% as an inflation, call it, target or objective in their fiscal planning. And you can't have monetary policy heading towards a 3% target and fiscal policy working on a 4.5% target. That would be a very unsatisfactory outcome which South Africa cannot afford.
The formal inflation target range may or may not be announced on the 12th of November, but Dr. Moorman says what will be important is that there's buy-in from all sectors of society on whatever is decided.
It's unfortunately still very difficult to know whether he'll make the final call now or whether he'll just give us further guidance in terms of the Treasury's thoughts around the Reserve Bank's proposal for a point target of 3% and perhaps where he is with the negotiations with other stakeholders. Because what Treasury is emphasizing is that the more we have buy-in, the more everybody in the economy believes that this is going to happen, that this will be a good thing, that this is actually achievable, the easier it will be to actually achieve that on a sustainable basis.
Even if Godongwana doesn't announce the new inflation target range at the midterm budget this week, given joint assurances from both the Reserve Bank and National Treasury that the policy formulation work is done and dusted, and the importance of perceived policy alignment, the chances of an announcement soon, but at a later stage, appear high. Nompumelelo Siziba, SABC News, Johannesburg.